Hello. Welcome to Spooky Shadows.
Northgate Hospital, a brooding Gothic monolith, towering over the desolate landscape, a grim sentinel of secrets, stories whispered through generations. Built in the 1800s, originally a sanatorium, a place of hope turned house of horrors. Now a decaying carcass of its former self. Corridors echoing with forgotten screams, walls stained with the pain of countless souls, the air thick with despair. Northgate's history seeped into its very foundation, an inescapable miasma of suffering. Dr. Eleanor Davies arrived at Northgate, a young, ambitious psychiatrist, eager to make her mark, unaware of the darkness that awaited. Patients, mostly elderly, lined the halls, their eyes vacant, lost in worlds unknown. A palpable sense of unease settled upon Eleanor. Amongst them, a new patient, transferred from a distant facility. His file simply read, John Doe, his past shrouded in mystery. Strange occurrences began subtly. Objects moved, whispers in the dead of night. Staff dismissed them as fatigue. Eleanor felt a shiver down her spine. One evening Eleanor heard her name, a soft, raspy voice. She turned but found no one. The patients stared blankly ahead, their eyes devoid of life. Then the apparitions started. Fleeting glimpses, shadows flitting at the edge of vision. A chill followed each sighting. The air grew heavy, suffocating. A recurring figure haunted the halls. A woman in a flowing white gown, her face obscured by darkness. Patients whispered of the weeping lady. Eleanor encountered her one night, standing at the end of a deserted corridor, her back turned. Eleanor called out, but the figure vanished, leaving behind a chill. The apparition appeared more frequently, always silent, always watching. Her presence sent shivers down the spines of patients and staff alike. Section 5. A ghastly discovery. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Eleanor delved into the hospital's archives. Dust-covered files revealed a gruesome past, experiments, torture and death. One file stood out, Subject Zero. The details were chilling, a patient subjected to horrific medical procedures, his final resting place unknown. Eleanor felt a growing dread. The hospital's history was darker than she could have imagined, and she had a sinking feeling it was not yet finished. Section 6. The Truth Unravelled. Eleanor discovered a hidden chamber beneath the hospital. A subterranean labyrinth of cells and operating theatres, the air thick with the stench of decay. In one of the cells, she found it. A rusted operating table stained with something that looked disturbingly like blood. And a name scratched into the wall, John Doe. John Doe, she realized, was not a new patient. He was a prisoner, trapped within the walls of Northgate, and now he was free. Section 7. Descent into Madness. The hospital descended into chaos. Patients became more agitated. Staff members vanished without a trace. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. Eleanor found herself losing her grip on reality, haunted by visions of the lady in white, her whispers echoing in her ears, driving her slowly insane. The line between sanity and madness blurred. Was she losing her mind, or was the hospital claiming her as its own? Section 8. A final confrontation. Eleanor knew she had to stop it. Whatever evil haunted Northgate, she found John Doe, his eyes glowing with an unnatural light. He lunged. A struggle ensued. John Doe, empowered by a malevolent force, was surprisingly strong. Eleanor fought back, fueled by desperation and fear. In a moment of clarity, Eleanor saw a rusty scalpel. She grabbed it, plunging it into John Doe's chest. His eyes widened in surprise. Then he crumpled to the floor. Section 9. A cruel twist of fate. As John Doe breathed his last, a cold feeling washed over Eleanor. The air grew still. The whispers ceased. A sense of peace settled over the hospital. She had won. Or so she thought. Looking down at John Doe's lifeless body, she noticed something strange. His face. It was changing. It was her face, her exact features. As she stared in horror, she felt a searing pain. Her reflection in a nearby puddle rippled. Her eyes glowed white. The hospital had claimed its new prisoner.
Story 2.
High in the Alps, shrouded in perpetual mist, stood the abandoned sanatorium Heilstatt. Locals called it the Hospital of Shadows, a name whispered with fear and dread. It was a place lost to time, a haunting reminder of a darker past. The hospital was built in the late 1800s, a beacon of hope for tuberculosis patients. However, its isolation and the devastating nature of the disease soon cast a shadow over its existence. Stories of suffering, despair, and unexplained events began to surface. The whispers spoke of patients driven mad by their illness, of cruel experiments conducted within the hospital's walls. These tales, passed down through generations, painted a chilling picture of the sanatorium's grim past. It was a place where hope went to die, and darkness lingered long after the light had faded. Now, decades after its abandonment, the Hospital of Shadows stood silent, a brooding presence against the unforgiving mountain landscape. But within its decaying walls, some whispered, the echoes of past horrors still lingered, and they were waiting. The sanatorium's history was a tapestry woven with suffering and despair. Tuberculosis, then known as consumption, ravaged Europe, and Heilstatt became a final refuge for countless souls. Patients arrived at the hospital with hope in their hearts, only to be met with the grim reality of their condition. The treatments, often experimental and brutal, offered little relief. The air grew heavy with the stench of sickness and death. As the years passed, whispers of something darker began to circulate. There were rumors of a doctor, driven mad by his inability to cure his patients, who resorted to horrific experiments. Stories spread of patients disappearing from their beds, never to be seen again. Whether these tales were true or simply the product of fear and isolation, they contributed to the growing darkness that enveloped Heilstatt. The sanatorium, once a symbol of hope, became a place of terror. Its name, uttered in hushed tones, sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. Drawn by the chilling legends, a group of paranormal investigators arrived at the foot of the mountain. They were a motley crew, each with their own reasons for venturing into the heart of darkness. There was Dr. Emily Carter, a renowned historian and author, seeking to uncover the truth behind Heilstatt's dark past. Mark Jenkins, a skeptical journalist, hoped to expose the legends as mere folklore. And then there was Father Michael, a priest haunted by his own demons, seeking solace in the face of true evil. Their motives may have differed, but they shared a common goal: to document the paranormal activity that plagued the abandoned hospital. Armed with cameras, EMF readers, and a healthy dose of trepidation, they ascended the winding road towards Heilstatt, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. As twilight painted the sky in hues of blood orange and purple, the team stepped inside the decaying structure. The air was thick with the smell of mildew and decay, the silence broken only by the sound of their own breathing. The first night was unsettling, to say the least. Unexplained cold spots sent shivers down their spines. Whispers seemed to emanate from the empty rooms, though no one dared to speak of what they might have heard. Emily, ever the historian, meticulously documented each anomaly, her hand trembling as she wrote. Mark, his skepticism waning, captured blurry images of shadows moving at the edge of the camera's lens. Father Michael, his face pale and drawn, muttered silent prayers, his rosary beads clicking rhythmically in the oppressive silence. As the hours crept by, the tension in the air grew thick enough to cut with a knife. They were being watched. They could feel it. Something was lurking in the shadows, toying with them. Sleep tight, if you can. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling stories. Until next time, stay scared.